Hello, Phil. Good evening. How the hell are you, dude? Just grabbing a few paints. Let's get started. Oh, Mike. Hello, Linus. Oh, orcs are a tough matchup, man. If you're inexperienced playing against orcs, they can be a very tough matchup. The way you beat orcs is you basically stay far away from them until they use their wag. And then when they use the wag, that is the time that you... Because the turn they do the wah, they always do a bunch of damage. So you need to sort of bait the wag out. If you manage to get the orc player to be like into turn 3 and they're still not sure if they should use their wag or not, that'll usually win you the game. So it's just a case of like, if you go first, it's a tough one, because you really don't want to move any closer to the orcs. Because the second he thinks he can get you with his advance and charge from wah, then he's coming for you. So yeah, orcs, if you haven't played much into orcs, then it's a bit of a learning curve, but I think once you figure it out, I actually usually find I can beat orcs pretty reliably. There might be the odd orc list that'll make me come undone, but for the most part, I played orcs at the GT final. That was an okay game. I played orcs at the last GT I was at as well. That was an okay game. I won both of them. But yeah, you really need to respect their wah and wait for, and like almost make it really hard for them to call it, because the turn they call it, they will do an absolute boatload of damage, and they kind of want to call it as early as possible, right? Like I said, if you get them to turn 3 and they've not called their wah, you've probably already won the game. Like you just want to make their first couple of turns really hard. Aradine, hello, good evening. Yeah, and like I've played orcs before when I've gone first, dude, and I've honestly done, like, I've moved out like one unit of outriders onto an objective, and that's it. Everything else has just stayed like at maximum distance, far away. Because like the way the orcs beat you is that they advance and charge the whole army in turn, probably most likely in turn 2, and then they just get on top of you all over the board and mop you up. That's how they win. I mean, if they can advance and charge in turn 1 and catch you, it's even worse. But if you can stay far enough away from them in turn 2 where they don't think it's good for them to wah in turn 2, then you're in a great position. Whether or not you can do that, though, I guess is a bit tricky. Takes practice. Hello, Jim. Yeah, congrats on getting your first match. That's great. You can't get better if you don't practice, right? Oh shit, is this guy supposed to have some sort of shield on his chest that I haven't put on, and there's like a bit of rope missing here? I guess, maybe. He's maybe supposed to have one of these stupid little lapel shields, is he? Yeah, I bet you I haven't stuck it on. I might need to spray that and stick it on afterwards, I guess. It's going to be a bit weird that the rope just stops halfway around his chest piece. Okay. Yeah, I got a few models I'm going to just put a bit of more colour onto. This is a captain, a custom captain with some grey tide pieces. I've got a custom lieutenant with combi weapon. And I'm going to be here for about 2 hours tonight. So I'll be here till about 10 PM UK time. So I'm just going to hang out, just chill, just nice and easy. If you've got a Blood Angels question, you can ask it, I'll try and read it. If you have a question about anything else random as fuck, I'll read that too. because these Saturday night streams are a little bit unhinged. We usually end up talking about movies on Saturday nights, which is funny because I actually don't watch that many movies, but I guess I do have a thing for 80s movies. So yeah, sometimes we end up talking about movies on a Saturday night. You have a 12-pack in the fridge? Well, enjoy your 12-pack, man. It's been a long time since I had 12 beers in a night, you know that? Even at New Year's I didn't do that. Oh god, this guy's got something else that I didn't stick on in the back? What could that have even been? It's a big hole in his armour. Oh, I guess I didn't pay enough attention to it when I was converting this guy. I'm gonna have to find the sprue for this guy and find out what the hell was supposed to be in that hole in the back. I don't know if you can see it too well under the jump pack, but there is definitely a hole there. Oh, it's for the cape. Oh, it doesn't make any sense he's got a cape with a jump pack, but I think you're probably right, yeah. I forgot this guy even had a cape. Could always just smoosh some green stuff into that hole. That hole is not very obvious. This one here on the front is much more obvious. Like, you wouldn't be able to see that hole behind unless you pick up the model. So yeah, maybe I'll probably just fill that hole with some green stuff. A cape, huh? A cape and a jump pack. Doesn't make a whole heap of sense, but yeah, sure. That's probably what was going to be in there. Yeah, you're right. Forgot this new captain had a cape. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Did anyone make him stock with the cape? You filled up with the green stuff? Alright, Mike, cool. How are you anyway, Mike? Hello, Tron. Speaking of Tron, what a great movie. They're making a Tron 3. I'm excited. I thought Tron 2 was an awesome movie. I kind of hope that they get some of the cast back from Tron 2. I really enjoyed that movie. I just got the Blood Angels Combat Patrol and picked up Dante to go with it. Got to finish my jump pack Assault Intercessors before I could start on it. Yeah, I mean, it does make sense to finish units before you start on other ones. Or you can do what I do and get 3 colours onto everything, and then you can jump around and you can play with stuff and you can find out what you like. Which isn't the worst thing to do. Like, it's good to have units that you can play with, because then if you've played with them and you're like, oh yeah, actually I really don't like this unit, then you haven't wasted a bunch of time painting it to realise that you actually really don't like it. So, there is some merit in, like, half painting things with 3 colours, playing with them a few times, and deciding from there, as opposed to, I must entirely finish this unit before I can play with it. I'm a little bit disappointed that the captain with jump pack doesn't come with a relic shield and hammer. Yeah. Considering he still has the rules for it, it's a bit weird that he doesn't come with it. You can't even really get... I mean, I guess you could get... Like, you could buy a set of Vanguard veterans, but you can't really get Primaris. Like, there isn't a single Primaris kit that has a Thunderhammer and Storm Shield specifically sized for Primaris, is it? You'd have to buy a firstborn one and, like, just sort of, like, jerry-rig the firstborn one on it, as far as I'm aware, anyway. Someone in chat correct, like, there is not a Primaris kit that has a Storm Shield and Thunderhammer, is there? I don't think there is. Any good sources for a Blood Angels Thunderhammer? For one of my Smash captains, I ended up using a Deathwatch Heavy Thunderhammer. So, like, from a Deathwatch kill team. Where did we used to get... Like, I guess the firstborn Death Company box used to have Blood Angel specific Thunderhammers in it. But I guess the firstborn Death Company box is discontinued now, so arguably that unique Blood Angels Thunderhammer is no longer available. Could try eBay. Maybe someone's got one on eBay. I mean, Thunderhammers aren't super popular for Marines anymore, so you might get lucky on eBay. The Storm Shield from the old Assault Terminators is an option. Yeah, I suppose the old Assault Terminators have Thunder Hammers on them as well. That might be your best bet, honestly, at this point. Try and convert a Terminator arm. Or just cut the Thunder Hammer off at, like, the hand. Oh yeah, this guy was needing another coat of red before I did anything else with him. Okay, so there's no point painting brown on him right now. And this guy... he looks pretty red. I suppose we could paint that a bit brown. I may jump in between 3 models a bit tonight. Just getting some more base colours dropped down on these guys. I haven't really decided who I'm finishing, or who I want to prioritise. So that's fine. I'm just base colouring up some of the guys that seem to be like I'm running that combi weapon lieutenant quite a bit now. I'm obviously running my company heroes quite a bit. So this is my converted company hero ancient, and then I'm also running just the 2 smash captains, or the 2 captains with 2 small squads of 2 squads of Sangre Guard and then Dante. So 9 Sangre Guard, everybody led by a character. So that's basically what I'm painting tonight. Is some of the stuff that I've been running in my Angelic Inheritors list, and some of the stuff that I feel like I'll probably be playing in the next 6 months. But my cold's much better. If you were here on last week's streams, I was really struggling actually to speak a little bit. So I'm feeling much better, and I still have a little bit of a cough. This cough has lasted like this whole week, but I feel fine now, so that's good. Got my Eldar Codex today as well. Haven't looked at it yet. We're going to do a live stream on the Grots channel for our podcast on Thursday. So if you have been checking out the Eldar Codex, if you are interested in Eldar in any way, shape or form, then Thursday night on the Grots, I think we're going to talk about Eldar. It'll be my first look. I mean, I might look at the Codex before Thursday, but it'll be my first look on stream, I guess. And then I'm going to have to build an Eldar list. I don't really know where to start, so hopefully the first look at the Codex with the guys on Thursday will give me like a jumping off point. I haven't played Eldar since 2nd edition, and even when I played way back in 2nd edition, I actually didn't have that many models. When will I build Bloodless Angels? I'm not doing that, dude. I said in the video on Friday, I'm not doing it. I mean, I'm one of the people that could actually do that very easily because I collect every single Space Marine model, but it's the same. It's the Bloodless Angels thing to me is the same as there was a period in 9th edition, right, where my chat and I guess the Blood Angels community in general had deemed that the best way to play Blood Angels, in 9th edition this was 3 units of Sangre Guard, 3 units of Death Company, 3 units of Assault Marines, maybe something else, I don't know, but it was the accepted meta that you had to have, you know, 30 Sangre Guard, 30 Death Company, and I don't actually think you could take 30 Assault Marines because that was too many points at that point, but like a crap load of Assault Marines. And it was super accepted that was the meta, that was the strongest Blood Angels list that money could buy, And if you weren't running that, you didn't really know how to play Blood Angels, or you quote-unquote weren't a real Blood Angels player. I didn't play it at all. And I didn't play it at all because... not because I hated it. Like, I actually think 30 Death Company, 30 Sangreguard, and 30 Assault Marines, if the meta said that was good, I actually think that's a, you know, that's a pretty Blood Angels army, lots of jump packs. I just didn't want to play it because that's not how I play Blood Angels. And I also think that for me personally, I don't play Blood Angels by leaving all my Blood Angels models in the drawers, in the shelves, whatever you want to call it. So I get Bloodless Angels is good. That's why I made a video on it. So if anyone was curious about it, the video was out there. The top lists that are playing it, all my reasonings on why it's strong. It's all out there. You can check it out. I'm happy to cover it, but I'm personally not going to play it. I'm sorry. I mean, you play it if you want to play it, right? It's the same reasoning that I didn't play the 30 Sangreguard, 30 Death Company. And I went to a tournament in 9th edition when I literally could have fielded that list if I wanted to. I have 30 Sangreguard. I have more than 30 Death Company because I've been collecting Death Company since 2nd edition. And I didn't magnetize my models back in 2nd edition. I actually didn't magnetize my models until about 8th edition. So like if I had 10 Death Company with chainswords and I needed 5 more with power fists, I just bought another 5, right? So like my Death Company was... so I'm probably close to 50 Death Company models, honestly. So I have 50 Death Company models, 30 Sangreguard, so I could easily have had those, I could have easily ran that super meta. But here's the thing as well, right? I like building my own lists. Right? Like, I know that my lists aren't always going to be like 2 Vindicator tanks in the highest level of meta or whatever you want to call it, but like, I like to build my lists. That's something I like to do. I think I would because then, like, I feel like, you know, like, so when I went to the GT last summer and won it with a complete unique list that nobody else was running, and like, I don't actually think really anybody else ran my list. Like, no one was in the comment section like, this is a great Blood Angels list, John, thanks for making it. I've used it and I've won a tournament, right? Like, that didn't happen. I'm like 90% sure nobody ran my list. I mean, maybe somebody tried it, but, you know, nobody really... Does that not make me feel like better that I won the tournament when I had to design a list from scratch, I had to come up with the combos? Does that not make me a better player than just looking online and going, all right, at the moment, this is what super strong Bloodless Angels with, like, you know, crap loads of MSU. Let me just copy this from online. You know, it's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. What was my favourite unit in 2nd edition? It was probably attack bikes, man. Attack bikes were super popular in 2nd edition. They were just like zipping around with their multi-meltas. I liked my attack bikes in 2nd edition anyway. I'm trying to think what else was cool in 2nd edition. I mean, I think I ran a lot of Death Company on foot in 2nd edition. You know what, in 2nd edition I ran a lot of tactical squads as well. Tactical squads were the backbone of everybody's list in 2nd edition, pretty much, weren't they? Remember back in the day when you had to roll to see how many of our models would become Death Company? I do remember that, and it was cool, except when a really expensive Terminator decided that he was going to join the Death Company, and then it suddenly wasn't as cool, right? I'm surprised Red Ultramarines is a thing. Aren't Ultramarines just better because of Double Oath? I think it's the Liberator Assault Group bonus, Rick. The Liberator Assault Group makes a lot of units that are kind of average much better. And the units that it probably makes much better are like Jump Pack Intercessors, Assault Intercessors, basically anyone that's Strength 4 that has melee, like has some AP in their melee, just become hell of a lot better in Liberator Assault Group. So I guess it makes sense that you use the Oath of Moment buff to make your use the Oath of Moment buff to make all your tanks much stronger, and then use the Liberator Assault Group buff to make your infantry much stronger. So what do you get? You get a really good blend of just stronger infantry, stronger tanks. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are on the fence with Bloodless Angels. Like, a lot of people dislike it because it's kind of reinforcing that all of our cool, unique shit is not that important. But it's also kind of splitting some of the fan base as well, because it's like, was our codex just not a great codex if the best thing to do is to just ignore all the stuff in the codex? So I think it's like, I think it was decent. I think if I practiced Bloodless Angels, I could probably make it work. But I'm just practicing Angelic Inheritors for now. I know I've got a pretty good Liberator Assault Group list. Like the Liberator Assault Group list that I took to that tournament a month ago or something. Like, I really like that Liberator Assault Group list. I think it's a pretty good list. I think I'd run it again at a tournament. In fact, right after the tournament, I really just wanted to go to another tournament with that exact list, because I was like, I think on another day I could have definitely won one more game, and with one more win I would have been 4-1 in finishing like top 5 or something. And I actually think that like the second loss was also kind of winnable as well. Maybe if I'd gone second, maybe if I did any experience whatsoever playing against the Bridgehead detachment before. So like, I already know I've got a good Liberator Assault Group list that fits my playstyle, that you know, everything is painted because I've taken it to tournament, so I could easily run Liberator Assault Group again to a tournament. So I guess I was looking at a tournament in May. It's about 10 weeks away. So I mean, probably what I'll do is I'll keep working on Angelic Inheritors for the next 10 weeks, or the next maybe 8 weeks or something. Iterate on the list that I've got at the moment, play it 8 more times or something. If I feel that it's good, take it to that GT. If I feel like it's not good, just roll back to what I've been playing, what I was doing well with in Liberator Assault Group, and take that. And my Liberator Assault Group list had 9 Sangre Guard in it, and Dante. So that's sort of that's what Blood Angel stuff I had in that list. So I mean, you could argue you could just replace all the Sangre Guard if you wanted to with Jump Assault Intercessors, replace Dante with a Captain and do something Bloodless, but I think I'd rather do it Blood Angels. I'd rather be Blood Angels than Red Ultramarines. How about that? But the same thing goes, like, I don't tell people what to play. I play what I want. My time is very limited. Like, I got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, so I only get to enjoy myself so much every week, I guess. I get to spend a lot of time doing drivel with the kids, which is fine, but at the same time, it's like, if I'm getting some time to play Warhammer, I want to be doing lists in armies that I want to do, as opposed to like just chasing after the meta. I can't chase after the meta anyway. Like, I think possibly only in the last year or so with the kids, I realized like I don't play enough to define the meta or chase the meta. I'm what we would call a weekend warrior, right? Like, I'll turn up to a tournament once a month, or it's not even once a month, it's once a quarter. So I'll turn up to 2 or 3 events a year, and I'll do okay, because I'll fight to the fucking last dice roll, and I'll try my absolute best, and I only really play one army, so I know that army pretty well in and out. But I am definitely, I guess, what you would call a weekend warrior, in that, like, I'm not chasing after the meta. I'm not running the most meta stuff. Which is, you know, like some of you guys that watch the channel probably are more serious than me, right? Like, you don't have kids, you don't have the same commitments I have. And that's fine. If I can give you some of my knowledge, cool. If you can learn from my mistakes, cool. But, and maybe you know, sometimes maybe I won't teach you anything, and that is totally fine as well. I've got a few people on the channel that hang out in the Discord that, like, go to quite big events and are, like, I think we had the guy that was, like, the best Blood Angels player in ITC last year hanging out in the Discord. So there's definitely people around with more knowledge than I have as well. Hadley says Bloodless sucks. The +1 to wound isn't worth it. I mean, it's very good on certain units, Hadley. One of the units that's amazing on is Vindicator tanks. Because it's just like, oh, your Vindicator tank just wounds everything on the game in 2s. It's hard to argue that that sucks. Like, that's just very, very strong. Did I name my kids after Warhammer characters? No. I think I did have some conversations with my wife about kids' names, and basically she shot me down and said every name that I came up with is stupid and we should use a normal name. And that's probably the best thing for it. Hello, Go For It Painting. How you doing? Good evening. Phil gets the urge to play Red Ultramarines just so you can field his. So I guess you've taken Rabute and converted him, have you? I was working on a converted Rabute. You know what? Maybe at the end of this, maybe at the end of this edition, we'll get to field Rabute with our Blood Angels again, and we won't need to take any penalty. That could be fun. I enjoyed doing that last edition. It was pretty interesting to add Rabute to Blood Angels army last edition. There were some really nice synergies there. Do I have any hopes for the next balance data slate? I feel like Sangre Guard could come down 5 more points, and I feel like Death Company could actually get... Like, Death Company needs to come down like 10 points. I don't even know if I'm using them if they come down 10 points. Death Company are a really weird spot since they took away all their weapon options. They don't have their survivability. Death Company were a glass cannon unit, and with the changes that they made, they're not really a glass cannon, and they don't really have the survivability, so Death Company confuse me a little bit at the moment. Like, I'm not really sure how you should run Death Company. That'd be fair to say? Like, I don't see many people running Death Company competitively at the moment, period. Excuse me. I don't think they'll put the Ballistus up because they took it down recently. I think it's probably fine at 130. The Ballistus is pretty good at missing with both shots and failing to wound with both shots. Like, it's only 2 strength 12 lattice cannons. I don't know if the Ballistus needs any sort of nerf. I think if something's going to be nerfed tank-wise, it's probably going to be the Vindicator tank. Right? Unless they're trying to sell off a surplus stock of Vindicator tanks. At the start of the edition, I would have probably bought a 3rd Vindicator tank, because I have 2. If If I didn't think that they were going to get put into Legends, I would have maybe bought a third one. But I really think that a lot of Firstborn stuff will be Legends for 11th edition. We've talked about that on stream a few times, right? Like, I think we'll get, like, I do think we'll get new Vanguard veterans. I think we might get some new bikes. I think we might get the Chaplain with the jump pack refreshed to Primaris. But then I think we'll probably lose, like, a bunch of other stuff. Like, possibly Predator tanks, possibly Vindicator tanks. Probably the Whirlwind, maybe even. Basically, anything that is Firstborn is like a big question mark for me at the moment. I haven't been buying Firstborn stuff like literally since this edition came out. When the Legends like half the Firstborn stuff at the start of the edition, I was like, alright, that's me. I'm not buying any more Firstborn until we know what the hell's going on. I know that people have asked for a Ball Gladiator, dude. I think you're... I understand why people want a Ball Gladiator. I personally think we're at the stage now where it's highly unlikely that we get a Ball Gladiator. And the reason I think it's highly unlikely, and I mean, I'm allowed to be wrong. I don't speak to Games Workshop. They don't tell me shit. And the reason I don't think we'll get a Ball Gladiator is, like, look at our refresh. Like, we lost the Furioso, nothing. We lost Librarian Dreadnought, nothing. We lost the Death Company Dreadnought. They couldn't even be bothered to do anything with it, except give it different rules, and it's a Brutalis Dreadnought, right? Like, there's no different sarcophagus, there's no different weapons, there's no real aesthetic differences. I know there was like a skull and crossbones on the upgrade sprue, but like to me that just seems like super lazy. So I think like the hopes of a Ball Gladiator are like, I'm not hoping for that. I don't think we're getting that. Like, if they can't even do anything with the 3 unique dreadnoughts that we've got, why would they do anything with the tank? Like, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, dark times are coming for the Firstborn. I think you're right, Anthony. Mike says, I also think they're moving away from chapter-specific vehicles. I think you're probably right, because chapter-specific vehicles probably, like, they have a limited amount that they will sell. Whereas, like, if it's something that everybody can use, then it will sell more. I mean, it's possibly partly the reason why the Blood Angels refresh was so lackluster. Because it's only going to sell to Blood Angels players, so why put all the effort in if it's only going to sell to a 10th of the Space Marine fan base? I don't know. I'm a little bit better about the Blood Angels refresh. I mean, I bought tons of third-party 3D printed bits. And, like, everything that I'm making, probably everything you see me painting, even my Dante, has third-party bits on it, because I'm just like... I liked all the customization we had before, and I don't like the lack of customization we have now. So, I'll do something about that. By your argument, there shouldn't have been chapter-specific characters. I don't think we can get rid of chapter-specific characters, dude. That, you know, like, I just don't think that they're going to put any effort into chapter-specific vehicles. Hey, but do you know what? Space Wolves are getting a release soon, right? That will be really telling. Because Space Wolves have a bunch of chapter-specific vehicles, dreadnoughts. So, I mean, like, if they don't get any new dreadnoughts, and they can, in like one of their old dreadnoughts is just sticking around for a little while, I feel like that's going to be pretty telling on like what's happened to Librarian Dreadnought, right? Like, if we just lost that, are we never getting it back? You know, like, I hate the lack of transparency. That's something else that I hate. Like, just tell us what you're going to do, because how is that ever going to be negative, right? You know, you've got people that want to know what's coming. I don't know. I feel like they should tell us what's... Why does it have to be so secretive? I hope they nerf Bjorn. I hate that guy. The wolves are going to get hammered. Well, I mean, Dark Angels had a sick refresh. Black Templars an okay refresh. So I don't get why ours was so bad then. Like, if they weren't fully happy with it, or if it wasn't ready, then they should have just not rushed it out, I guess. I don't know. I mean, ours was so bad that, like, the front page of Reddit was just, like, hundreds of people signing a petition that the Blood Angels model sucked. Right? I don't think any other chapter had that. Or any other faction or release had that, did they? Thank God for the Crimson Lord guys, though, huh? Like, I've made all my characters and stuff with Crimson Lord pieces or other third-party 3D printed pieces. Otius takes the cake. Yeah, he wasn't a great. He didn't get the best refresh, did he? Yeah, the giant quality difference between some of the refreshes is weird. I don't know how else to say it except it's weird how some have been so good and some have been so bad. I think all we will get is next edition we'll get one new character, which will probably be Corbolo or Seth returned in Primaris form. That's what I think we'll get. Because before the big refresh, I guess, like the refresh that had Astaroth, Dante, and the new Primaris Death Company and all that. Like in 9th edition, I think we got Mephiston and Dante. Or was Mephiston 8th? And we also got Lieutenant Tolmeron. I like 3 Lancers and Angelic Inheritors, so the Sangard and the characters don't have to deal with the toughest stuff or get it to help. Yeah, I mean, the problem with Lancers, though, is if you fight a Horde army, then they're pretty average, right? I am half considering trying the double Vindicator in Angelic Inheritors. Vindicators are just very, very useful. Their killing power is kind of unmatched, I feel like. I think you just put them both in reserve. Just bring them in where you need them, blow something up. Troverian? I don't know how you say that. Got kicked from the GW Partner Program and implied it was because he trashed the recent releases and kit bashed better versions. I don't know Troverian. I know other people that have kit bashed the recent releases though. Medical Hobbies kit bashed the... He kit bashed the Brutalis Dreadnought. I think the thing GW have to realise is if they don't do good releases, then people are going to kit bash them. Like, what? Especially like what I guess we call the old guard, like people like me that have been playing the hobby for like 20 years. Like I probably have like 100 sprues of random you know, like every kit I've ever bought had some weapon options or had some parts on it that I never used, right? And because all my stuff's Blood Angels, then I've just got like, I've got a set of drawers that just have like 100 old sprues on them. You know, parts from aggressors, parts from incursors, parts from Sangre Guard, parts from Terminators. Like, I've just got parts from everything. And then tanks as well. I've got parts from just about every tank. I've got spare las cannons. I've got spare ball predator turrets, you know? So, like, lots of people have these. Angelic Inheritors on a 67% win rate. That's interesting. Do we know what the bad matchups are for Angelic Inheritors? Because I feel like Death Guard is a tough matchup for Angelic Inheritors. I've played them twice now and lost both times by 1 point. And in Liberator Assault Group, I usually always used to beat Death Guard, I feel like. Death Guard are an army that Liberator Assault Group kind of thrives on beating, if anything. They were like maybe unless the Death Guard player has gone like 18 Death Shroud, then maybe you have a problem. Sometimes they do that, right? Anything that is easy access to precision is bad from Angelic Inheritors, and I suppose that's true as well, Mike. What have you played against that's been bad for Inheritors? I'm hoping for a full boss Corbolo with a jump pack. Maybe then we can have a full boss jump pack unit. That'd be cool. I'm just hoping for Corbolo to have a fucking jump pack, because with him on foot for the last decade or something, he's been absolutely useless, hasn't he? Like, very few people have run Corbolo. Like, how do you even run him when he's on foot? Can you even run him? I feel like you kind of can't. You smashed Vanguard Space Wolves. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think we're going to get the Sangre Priest with the jump pack back. I think that's gone. So I think Corbolo needs to be the version of the Sangre Priest with the jump pack, basically. But the Sangre Priest is a good example of, like, I don't feel Games Workshop were very in touch with the Blood Angels community. Because, like, if you followed the Reddit for the last 6 months, maybe even a year, like, maybe even longer, 2 years, no Blood Angels player gave, like, a real shit about the Sangre Priest on foot. Like, very, very few people had that in their army, if at all. Everybody had Sangre Priest with jump packs, going back multiple editions. So, like, if they'd spent any time, they would have known that. But yeah, I don't need to, I guess, worry about getting thrown out of the GW partner program, because I've emailed GW twice and they haven't even responded to me both times. So I've just decided that they don't want me as a partner, so I'll just do my own thing. Which is maybe... I mean, it was a little bit sad, I suppose, right? Because, like, you start the channel, you grow it, you think people care about it, you try and be positive. Like, one thing I definitely try and do is be positive and don't try and bash anything, and I do all that, and then I just get completely ignored. I'm like, okay. So just try and not get upset and just do my own thing, I guess. Will the Sangre Priest ever get a unit worth attaching to? Well, Blade Guard are right fucking there. And he's on the same size of base, I think, as the Blade Guard. So, he, in my opinion, he should attach to Blade Guard. They would probably sell a lot of Blade Guard. If they just went, Sangre Priests can attach to Blade Guard, you'd probably see quite a lot of sales of Sangre Priests and Blade Guard. Because that would be a genuinely really good combo for Blood Angels. It gives the Blade Guard AP 3, which would make them the same as Sangre Guard. And then it also gives the Blade Guard a 5-up Feel No Pain, which is probably needed as they have to run across the battlefield as opposed to have jump packs like the Sangre Guard. So I think, like, if Sangre Priests could attach to Blade Guard, you might get some really interesting lists, like especially with Angelic Inheritors, where it's like, okay, what we're going to run is a bunch of Sangre Guard with captains, then a bunch of Blade Guard with priests, and we're going to go back to maybe a little bit like how Blood Angels used to be, where it was like lots and lots and lots of melee. Like that would be really cool, and I think it would be quite strong, but I guess it's not. Sangre Priest and Terminator armor? Well, maybe Corbolo will come back in Terminator armor, but yeah, if Corbolo comes back as like a guy on foot with no jump pack, no Terminator armor, I'll just be looking at him going like, why do Games Workshop hate Blood Angels? Like, why are they not giving new combat, like, why even make Corbolo if he's on foot? Like, what does he add to any army? Lagmeister says, literally attach the Sangre Priest to the Blade Guard and you've got an auto include. Yeah, I mean, I would run Sangre... I never bought that new Sangre Priest Lagmeister, because I'm like, who the fuck does he attach to? I buy a lot of the new releases, but, I mean, at some point, I'm like, if this has literally no play... You know, like, I've bought all the new box sets and stuff. But like, if I'm looking at the Sangre Priest and going like, there's not a unit that I want to attach the Sangre Priest to. So why am I wasting $30 on this? But you're right. If Blade Guard could be attached to a Sangre Priest, like, I think it would be hard for me to not just be like, all right, well, I need to get Sangre Priest because I've been probably wanting to field like slightly more durable Blade Guard. That sounds so cool. AP3 Blade Guard, yeah, let's do it. I'd be all over buying the Sangre Priest. Do you feel vindicated that the fact that Company Heroes made the top 10 lists on the competitive? I don't know if I feel vindicated. I mean, I still think just the Company Heroes are a good squad, man. I used them this first time this week past in the Angelic Inheritors, and I thought they were... I don't know if I would say amazing, but again, they just survive. And because they survive turn over turn, they start to kill stuff because they're alive turn over turn. So I like the Company Heroes and Angelic Inheritors. Maybe they are a tiny bit weaker in terms of like their damage output, but I think that there's still value in them, and I think I'll still run them. Camo cloak for Corbolo? Well, he needs something. If he comes back and he just fills the same role as the Sangre Priest, there's going to be literally no point to him. And I think he's suffered for years now where there's been very little point to him. I mean, maybe that's why they retired him, so to speak, for this edition, because it was like, how do we make him relevant? Well, you make him relevant by giving him something he can do that the Sangre Priest can't do, I guess. That's how I would make him relevant. Is there a rumour about Nur Corbolo, or is it just wishful thinking? No, I'm just saying, based on what they've been doing, is every edition they do like 2 Primaris models, characters, whatever. So I think just based on the fact that they do 2 in 11th edition, the 2 that got removed are Seth and Corbolo, so I think it would make a lot of sense for at least one of them to come back in 11th edition. But I mean, there's no rumour or nothing, and like I said, I don't know anything that you guys don't know. I mean, like at this point, if Games Workshop reached out to me and were like, you want to come and join our influencer program, I don't know if I would. I think I'm doing my own thing in my own niche, and I'm so slow at painting models anyway. I think that's what they like. They like to be able to send models out and then see kick-ass paint jobs of them, and that's not really my forte anyway. Gabrielle was just painting a Blood Angels captain with a relic sword, going to use it on a game tomorrow with some Sangre Guard. Cool. Sounds good. I think the captain is pretty good at the moment. I tried him with this hand flamer nonsense, and it's fine. I think the hand flamer feels similar to the plasma pistol. Like the plasma pistol usually doesn't do all that much. The hand flamer felt the same. Like it typically doesn't do all that much. So if you've got a captain and you can literally put any pistol on him you want. I don't think it really makes all that much difference. It was just Jack, who did very well at LVO, had hand flamers on his captains. I was like, I guess that helps if you're fighting against hordes a little bit. But if you're fighting against anything else, like I was fighting Death Guard, it's like, oh, my hand flamer only really wounds these guys on 6s. So even if I got 6 shots from the hand flamer, it felt very meaningless, kind of like as meaningless as like as meaningless as a single plasma pistol shot would feel. Jim says the hero survived and killed 3 units the last game. Yeah, the heroes did alright, right, Jim? I mean, they almost won the game in the final combat. They did 10 damage to Defiler. So, I mean, they weren't far from winning me the game in that final turn as well. I actually think if I'd gone second, I probably won that game as well. Going first against Death Guard, when you know exactly what they want to do, which is get you in contagion and contest the middle objective where you want to be as well, is like really tough. I have been playing Angelic Inheritors. I think I've played it 3 times now. The first time I copied the LVO list as much as I could. I didn't have quite every unit, so I copied like 90% of it. The second time I tried something of my own doing, and the third time I've tried something of my own doing, but I've been experimenting both times. Like the second time I took Terminators, even though I don't really run Terminators. I also took Suppressors and Reavers, even though I don't really run Terminators, Suppressors or Reavers. I wanted to see them all in Angelic Inheritors. And then this week past, I tried a Ball Predator, and what was the other thing I tried this week? It was the Company Heroes Impulsor. So I tried those in Angelic Inheritors this week. I really did like the Company Heroes Impulsor. I like that unit a lot. I think it is strong. I thought it was strong in Inheritors. That unit always survives well. The 4 wounds per model is big for survival. The Ball Predator, though, I wasn't so sure on. I mean, I think I maybe played it a little bit wrong. First time using a Ball Predator really in probably like a year. So maybe we'll play the Ball Predator again, but I mean, it only killed 1 Chaos Spawn. And then I overwatched and only killed 1 more Chaos Spawn. I mean, I know Chaos Spawn are a weird unit, though. They're just so fucking difficult to kill. So maybe the Ball Predator killing the Chaos Spawn was actually good, but it just, at the time, it felt like, oh, all the Ball Predator is going to kill is a single Chaos Spawn. That doesn't feel super meaningful. I thought it would be good to get dealing with the Chaos Spawns as well. Don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate it. Go for it, Painting. Thank you. You should truly try two heroes units. You think you could run? Do you actually think 2 units of company heroes in Angelic Inheritors is strong? Like, you actually think that's a valid idea? Just for their durability, Jim. You know, I actually had 3 units just off camera, because I was basing up a lot of units. And one of the units that I have just here off camera that I've been basing up is my second potential company hero, company hero ancient. So this guy is on double base extender. He's gone from a 25mm metal base to a 32mm base extender, 40mm base extender. So this is a firstborn ancient from, I don't know, this is a metal model as well. He is literally super ancient. He was so old that the reason is underneath his head looks like such a disaster was like he had an old metal face, and the detail in the metal face was just lost to time and paint, I guess. So I actually snipped off his head. Somehow I managed to get his head off and replaced it with like this, I guess like Blood Angel's veteran helmet. Like, the helmet hasn't sat quite perfectly, and there's a bit of mess underneath him. But this is basically going to be my converted ancient for my second squad of company heroes. So I could run 2 squads of company heroes if I wanted to. And this is a Sanguinary Guard banner, because I was looking for like a banner for him to hold. So I don't know what. Like, I did this a hot minute ago, so I don't know where I cut his arm off and replaced, like, maybe I cut his hand off? I actually don't know how I got this banner on there. But it's on there, because the banner is certainly not metal. But yeah, I was thinking to myself, I was like, I need to make a second banner bearer, so if I do want to run 2 squads of company heroes, I've got the option. And I was thinking, like, I thought I did that like a few years ago, made another banner bearer, and then I found this guy. Company heroes equivalent to toughness 7 16 wound model for 19 points that just degrades damage output over time. Yeah, I guess because they're -1 to wound, then yeah, they're equivalent of toughness 7 with 16 wounds for 95 points. I mean, that's cheap as hell, isn't it? And the 4 wounds is a great break point as well. You know, like I was fighting what was it? Those Blight Lord Terminators this week, which they do 3 damage a swing. So it's like I failed 1 save on the company heroes, and I was like, all right, you take 1 down to 1 wound. He's like, what? I don't even kill one of them. I was like, nope. I played them against Chaos Knights in the GT when I won the GT, and I felt like they were super great against Chaos Knights as well, because Chaos Knights literally wound you all the time on 2s. So it was like he charged in. I think he charged the company heroes fully expecting to completely wipe the squad, because he's got like a 5 attack chain fist or something with like strength 16, and I think it was D6 plus 1 damage. I think with the -1 to wound, he drops a couple. He then makes me take like 3 saves. I pass one of them and fail 2, and then he had 1 bad damage roll, and it's like, so his giant knight literally kills 1 company hero. Alright, let me just lift off the 1 guy with a standard bolt gun. Whoop-de-doo. I'm still OC8 with 3 company heroes on the captain remaining as well, which is meaningful against knights, because they're OC8. Do you put more value on Death Company or standard intercessors? Neither right now, dude. Death Company are overcosted. I think Death Company need to come down like 10 points per squad. I don't run any of the Death Company squads. I tried to run all of them. I try to run some of them on foot, I try to run some of them with jump packs. So the jump pack ones are better, but I think they're still too expensive for what you get from them because they don't survive, they just die very, very quickly. And so the reason Death Company were so successful before is because before they had so many power fists, right? So it's like all these power fists were coming out, so their survivability wasn't as much of an issue because they just jumped in and went, hey, let me just hit you with like 40 power fists. Alright, your big thing is dead. Let me, move on to the next big thing to kill. So the Death Company weren't getting hit all that often because they were just killing everything that they charged into. With the removal of all the power fists, then what happens is they dive into something, they don't do all that much damage to it, sometimes they don't even bracket it. And then it hits them back and like just evaporates like 5 Death Company, and you're like, oh my god, that was so many points of Death Company I just lost. They really don't have survivability because they're just toughness 4 guys with a 6-up feel no pain, and 6-up feel no pain is like when you need it, it just doesn't work. It works when you don't need it because 6-up feel no pain is just too random, I guess, to be reliable or useful. Would that be fair to say? 5 intercessors is good. Yeah, I mean, I would realistically take intercessors over Death Company at the moment. It's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? You aren't running Death Company with bolt rifles? Andonius, nobody runs Death Company with bolt rifles. Literally nobody. And don't you dare tell me that you do it because I'll know it's a lie. I don't like liars. Apparently I put the Phobos Lieutenant with the Phobos Lieutenant on the wrong size base, so I've had to put a base extender on him. Might have been easier to rip him off his current base, but I just put a base extender. Last edition, in 9th edition, there was a stratagem that gave the Death Company a 5-up feel no pain. And I used it so many times, and never once did I feel like it was good. The feel no pain on the Death Company is a fucking trap. It sucks. Do not think the feel no pain on the Death Company has any value whatsoever. It's a trap. Chad says, you will hate me, John, but I'm looking at a shooting list that is bloodless, in Angelic Inheritors, with a sustain, mass tank shooting, and lone op every battle round, a company hero squad. Well, I don't hate you. If that's what you want to run, dude, run it. Bloodless Angels is apparently very strong. I just don't want to run it. Have I tried running a Tech Marine? Pretty good for 55 points. I actually think a Tech Marine might be actually useful. Especially in Angelic Inheritors, but like, I've run Tech Marines... Have I run one this edition? I've definitely run a Tech Marine to a tournament last edition, and I've done it multiple times. I might not have done it this edition. But for 55 points, with the bonus of getting extra attacks when the vehicle dies and keeping the vehicles alive, like, lots of Blood Angels players run vehicles at the moment. So if you're inclined to run a Tech Marine, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I might try a Tech Marine again. I always thought the Forge Bolter... Is the Forge Bolter still Assault? I know it was Assault last edition. I always thought the Forge Bolter was pretty useful. Because you just had the Tech Marine advance behind the vehicle and just shoot off the Forge Bolter. It's a shame that the Death Company are less effective because the new Astaroth and Lamartis models are so good. Yeah, it certainly is a shame, isn't it? They always seem to manage to do that. They always seem to manage to, like, fuck one of our squads. It's like, if the Death Company are good, the Sangre Guard are bad. If the Sangre Guard are good, the Death Company are bad. I feel like it's been a long time since you would want to make an army with both those squads. And I think that's kind of sad, because I feel like that is an army that I used to enjoy making, and would like to make again at some point. Do I have recommendations for tournament lists? I mean, there's a whole playlist on the channel, dude, called like competitive Blood Angels lists, 10th edition. I can show you how to get to it if you don't know how to get to it. But it covers some of my lists, but also covers some lists that have just done well at events and tournaments and stuff like that. How do you paint him to make him look interesting? Who, the Tech Marine? I mean, I've got a couple of Tech Marines painted. Whether they look interesting or not, I guess, is another question. The Forge Bolter has no keywords. Ah, they nerfed it. I liked it when it was Assault. You don't want them to stand out. Yeah, that's true. You want him to be incog. I mean, because he can do actions as well, and he's got a 2-up save. I really don't mind running a Tech Marine for Blood Angels. I think there's worse things you could do with 55 points. Especially with the Vindicator meta being so strong right now, right? In 9th edition, he could shoot his Forge Bolter and his pistol, that's true. Hello Kane, how are you doing? Played against the new Codex Eldari today. Avatar of Kane buff by Ulthrud, one shot in my Land Raider. There's a strat in the Kane detachment that gives it an 18-inch range. Yeah, well, I only got the new Eldar Codex today, Eugene. And I haven't, I literally haven't even opened it. Yeah, you know, my wife moved it. It was in here, but she was working on her computer earlier, so she's moved it. I'm going to be doing a video on Thursday over on our Grotz channel where we're diving into the new codex, and then once I've done that, I'll do at least one video on Eldar for the Blood Angels Commander channel. Either like what you need to watch out for, or what you should be doing to beat them, and I'll probably play at least 1 or 2 games on the live battle show with Eldar. So I literally just bought an Eldar army. So it's the first time in 20 years I'll play something different from Blood Angels, but maybe I was going to say, maybe I need to wait until after the next GT I go to, or at least wait until I feel like I've got a good Angelic Inheritors list, because I feel like at the moment I'm struggling to put together a good Angelic Inheritors list. I need a few more games. I can't decide if I like the Ball Predator. The Ball Predator always seems to underperform for me. Any advice on what's good versus Horde or Orcs? The Ballistus feels meh and I get bullied in melee. Hordes of Orcs. I mean, the trick with the Hordes of Orcs is to not let them charge you. That's the trick. Impulsors is quite good against them, actually, because typically orcs will kill you in the combat phase. They're not going to do too much to you in the shooting phase, so they can't. It's not like another arm, like, you know, like if as a Blood Angels player, I could use my Vindicator tanks to blow up a Rhino and then charge what's inside with like jump units or something. Orcs don't really have that luxury. So, like, if you have a couple of strong melee units inside an Impulsor, and you can push the Impulsor forward onto objectives, that's actually very difficult for the Orcs to deal with, because they probably cannot kill the Impulsors in the shooting phase, which means if they do manage to kill the impulsor in the combat phase, you can just dump your units out, ideally out with engagement range, and they can't put any damage on your units, right? Our Vindicator's good against anything that's got blast is good against hordes, yeah. I mean, I think if you're running double Vindicator, I can definitely see a Tech Marine being useful. And I mean, a lot of people are running that double Vindicator. It seems to be like the auto include for a bunch of Space Marine lists at the moment. Brian loves the ball predators. Yeah, I don't know what it is for me, Brian. I always roll like dog shit for the number of shots from the ball predators, and then I just always find them underwhelming, and then I'm always like, should I even have these in my list? Should I just drop them and get something I feel like is more reliable? How often do you roll badly on the number of shots for a ball predator? Yeah, I did a tournament, or I did 2 GTs recently actually. In both GTs I faced up against orcs, and in both tournament games, the impulsors were very, very useful, because it just lets me put a unit quite far forward on an objective and just says, like, you know, the orc player is going to use his Wa to try and like swarm you and, like, I think even said it, like, bully you in melee. So like, I was playing in the tournament, and in like my board state was basically like, it was turn 3, I think, and the orc player still was like, at the start of his turn he was trying to decide if he could use his Wa, and obviously like he really doesn't want to get to turn 4 and not have used his Wag, and he's like looking at the board state, and he's like, he literally said out loud, I'm pretty sure, he's like, I think I have to use my Wa here. And I was like, yeah, you probably have to use it in turn 3. And he's like, but if I use it, all I'm going to get to kill is like 2 impulsors and a unit of outriders. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I know you're going to use your Wa, so that's literally the 3 units that I've pushed forward. So when you use your Wa, yes, you can kill 2 impulsors, yes, you can kill a unit of outriders, but like, I don't give a shit about any of those units, right? Like, inside both my impulsors, like, one had like a 6-man fight first blade guard. Well, they're totally safe. And the second he blows up the impulsor, they're coming out for revenge in my turn. And one of the other units was like, the outriders I don't care about. They're literally the cheapest unit in my list, and they're there to just sit on an objective and try and score points. They're kind of there to die, or they're kind of there to lure him out. And then, let me think about this. What else was there? Yeah, like another impulsor. Cool. Kill another 80-point impulsor. If that's what you're doing in your Wa turn, I'm feeling pretty good. Hellstorm Mickey was deciding how using the Horse Heresy Vindicator tank in 40k is cheating. Was it smaller? Dude, I have the Vindicator tank from like 1992 or something. You remember that one? If you really want to talk about cheating, like, I'm pretty sure the Vindicator tank from 1992 is even smaller. Like, I have it when it was metal, and it didn't have the siege shield period. So like, that's totally a valid model. Like, that is 100% a valid model. So, I mean, what are you going to say about that, Mike? Have you seen how small that model is? There's an impulsor. Here's the metal Vindicator from 1992. This is a Vindicator tank. Before it ever had a siege shield. I pretty much can guarantee you that is smaller than the Horus Heresy one. But we could check. It's miles smaller, dude. It's miles smaller. Alright, this is the one that I've been using at tournaments. So I'll just use this one instead. Because this one is valid. Because this is an official Vindicator model. It's miles smaller. It's the width as well. It's not even just smaller on the... It's like a half-inch smaller on the width. It even has the old... Have I finished painting it? No, I've been keeping it since 1992. I mean, you can tell it's metal in here apparently. I think that might even be... Do you remember when they did white metal? I honestly don't really play with that Vindicator. When I play, I use the one that's got more paint on it. This one, and it's not finished either. But it's in a much more realistic, fieldable state than the 1992 one. I have taken that metal one to a tournament this edition. Yes, and no one complained about it. But even if they did, it's an official GW model. I mean, technically speaking, you could take that paper Orc Dreadnought to a tournament, because as far as I'm aware, that Orc Dreadnought is an official... The paper Orc Dreadnought... Hey, thanks so much for subscribing, dude. The paper Orc Dreadnought is an official GW model as well, correct? I mean, I don't think anyone's taking the paper Orc Dreadnought to a tournament, but like... I have literally run that metal Vindicator to a tournament. When I was running Gladius at the start of the edition, I think... I'm like 90% sure my Gladius list had 2 Vindicator tanks in it. Maybe it didn't. It had maybe it had a Ballistic Dreadnought, it had a Repulsor. I mean, it definitely had 1 Vindicator at least. Maybe it had 2. Yeah, I mean the metal one is smaller in all dimensions, yeah. Height, width, and length. But I mean, I might have the box for it, because I kept a lot of my old boxes. I don't know why I kept a lot of my old boxes, but I mean, I might have the crazy old box. You will be shamed for using it, but it's legal. Hey, I put when this GT just passed, at one point I was trying to position Dante behind a wall, and my opponent was like, I don't know if Dante will fit in there with his wings. And I was like, that's funny, Dante doesn't have wings, I just put them on him because I was pissed off that GW did such a bad job of like the Blood Angels refresh. And my opponent was like, oh, okay. And then he was like totally happy for me to just place him anywhere behind the wall. So I usually model for disadvantage. In fact, this Sangre, this captain doesn't have wings. Look at that. Look how much bigger I've made him. I think if you're complaining about like, I don't want to get too involved in that, but I guess maybe I just don't care enough, or maybe I'm not playing at a high enough level to care if your tank is half an inch smaller than it should be. Like, as much as I do want to win, I also just want to have a good, solid, fun game that feels pretty fair, right? Didn't someone once take a Necron army to a tournament with cardboard cutout images for Necron from the box and it was legal? Don't know. But it seems like people will do anything, right, to win. Or I sent you an eBay link to the Metal Vindicator. How much is it on eBay? Is it brand new in box? I'm not going to buy another one. I'm quite happy with my one Metal Vindicator. I think I've always wanted the Seed Shield one. I would have probably bought the Seed Shield one if I didn't think they were going to get Legends this edition, Mike, honestly. Like, I remember being a kid and seeing that Vindicator with the Seed Shield and thinking like, oh man, the one with the Seed Shield is so much cooler than the one that I've got. But I guess like when you're a kid, you just don't have any money, right? Or maybe I had some money, but I would have probably spent it on another unit that I didn't have, as opposed to buy the same unit again that just looks cooler. How big is the disadvantage to use the Bulldozer and the Vindicator in terms of moving on the table? I don't know, because I don't have one, but I don't think it's massively big. I mean, we were playing for a little while that, like, because I was playing against Garen, and Garen was running, like, I think he was running 2 Land Raiders, or at least 1 Redeemer. We were actually playing that if the Redeemer could fit through a gap, excluding its sponsons, because the sponsons make it obnoxiously big, that's absolutely fine. And then we went to a tournament not long after that, and they basically said like, oh, if it can't fit through, it can't fit through. And I was like, even with the sponsons? And they're like, oh yeah, if the sponsons can't fit through, it can't fit through. And I was like, well, you've just, you know, sometimes I think you have to do it with a pinch of salt, because if someone's brought a Land Raider and it's literally stuck in their own deployment zone because the sponsons, it's a little bit silly in my opinion. My theory is the guy who modelled Dante got fired or moved to AOS for doing a good job. Wings are sometimes necessary for Blood Angels, even if it brings a disadvantage. Yeah, I agree, Master of Dolphins. I think wings are necessary for Blood Angels. I'm always going to build characters with wings, whether they have wings or not, I feel like. Some of my favourite models are like my converted Smash Captains that had wings. If I had a second set of like Astrath wings, I'd have probably given them to like Lamarcas, honestly. But yeah, I guess it becomes difficult if you're complaining about like a specific tank or a specific model, if there's like a crazy old version of that tank kicking around, because I guess my question is, is the people that have been accused of gaming the system, are they just using a different sculpt because they like the sculpt? Or are they using it to try and gain an advantage? Because I legitimately run this tank all the time, and I run this one because it's the more painted of the two, right? Like, I mean, I could run this one if I'm really trying to game the system, and this one is actually valid, whereas this laser destroyer is not, because it doesn't have the laser destroyer. And if you watch my battle report this week, Colin actually said to me, he's like, do you measure from this gun when you're measuring for line of sight or for and I said, I know, I usually measure from the blade down here, just because I know that it's not supposed to have this gun overhanging it, so I just measure from the bulldozer blade, which it would have if it had a blade in front, right? So it's like, is the person actually trying to game the system, or is it just the model they have, I guess is the question. So I could be using the smaller model, but I'm using the one that I've got more painted. But here's the thing, I'm not playing, like I already said in the stream, I'm like a weekend warrior. I want to do well when I play, but I'm not playing at the highest levels. And I guess if that's becoming a problem at the highest level, then Games Workshop need to put a rule in, you know, like, they would actually need to start saying people can't use these older models. Because that's the problem, right? Like, they'd have to say, like, but how are they gonna retroactively do that? How are they gonna be like, oh, if you have a plastic Vindicator kit from the year 1994, then that's not a valid model anymore? Like, that's gonna be impossible to police. You know, that would have had to be something that was done 20 years ago, before 40k competitively became a thing, and or they'd have to start now and make up a new rule, right? It would be very, very difficult for them to sort that, I feel like. I played an Astraeus in 9th edition in the deployment zone, tracked my Astraeus. Yeah, do you know what? I played a super heavy tank in a game at a tournament as well, and I actually came up against an opponent that had a super heavy tank, and in both games we managed to just talk about it and agree to move a little bit of terrain in both games, so it was like, so your super heavy tank was not stuck in the deployment zone, and that's how I would rather play the game, right? Where you just gentleman's agreement, like, it makes literally no sense if this tank is stuck in your deployment zone because you've spent so many points on it and it can't do anything. The most recently released model, yeah, but how, I mean, here's the thing, how could you even, like, you line up at the table, Phil, my knowledge of of other armies isn't always the greatest, right? Like, there's like 20, 30 armies in 40k. Like, I wouldn't be able to, like, if you lined up with like an Eldar army, I wouldn't be able to tell you if you were using the latest models or not. So then so I don't know at that point, is it any different? You know, like, I actively try and keep my models on the right size basis. For example, recently, you know, when the scouts all got retired, I went and got base extenders and put all my scouts from, what were they, 25s before, and now they're 28s. But that's just the thing, like, I think I actually, at one point, I'd been using the scouts for, like, let's say, I'd been using them on live battles, because we do the weekly battle on the channel, right? So I've been using them on the channel for, like, a while, like a month, maybe a month and a half, and I was like, oh yeah, shit, the scouts are supposed to be on 28s now. Well, like, I've been playing them for weeks on 25s and nobody's noticed. The only person that noticed was me. And then I was like, oh crap, right, for next week I want to get those scouts onto the right size bases. But that's, I guess that's just the thing, right? It's a weird one. It's going to be tough to police, I feel like. Or police fairly or correctly, I guess, maybe is the... Wouldn't the sponsons class under overhanging parts? Yeah, but I mean, That's why me and Garen were playing that if the sponsons can't fit through a gap, the tank can still fit through a gap. But like the tournament I was at, I was there and I asked the tournament organizer because my predator wouldn't fit through a gap because of the sponsons. And it just so happened at that time in the game when I needed to move through the terrain, the tournament organizer, he wasn't playing, he was just like wandering from table to table. He was at our table at the exact time that happened, and I was like, and I guess it hadn't come up earlier in the event. This was like game 3 or something. I was like, can my predator go through here even though it won't fit because of the sponsons? And he was like, no, if the sponsons don't fit, it doesn't fit, And like, what are you supposed? That's the TO. If the TO says no, you can't be like. I mean, you could start an argument, I suppose, but that's not who I am. I guess I'm like, okay, can't fit. Let's move on. Let me do something else. I ended up just moving the Ballistus Dreadnought through the gap, so it wasn't the biggest problem for me. And in fact, in hindsight, it was probably a better thing because the Ballistus out of cover has a 2-up save and the Predator out of cover has a 3-up save. So it was probably the right call at the moment in that match. But it was an interesting thing that came up, right? It was like, the sponsons of the Predator tank are stopping the Predator tank move through, so can it move through? The answer is no. So I haven't painted this lieutenant. Can you guys tell me what colours you used on this Tyranid arm? This is the arm that's kind of like covered in like, I think it's called like chitin. It's basically like Tyranid scales or something on his arm. Like what colours did you guys use to paint that? Because I actually have no fucking idea. So if anyone's painted that Tyranid arm, and has a suggestion, I'd appreciate it. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do that tonight because I've only got 15 more minutes, but a suggestion would be cool. I'm just working on some different characters for my Angelic Inheritors list. Where the fuck did I put my water bottle? Oh, here it is. Chitin, it's an exoskeleton, so it should be painted like bone or something? Purple? Purple, that's not a colour I normally have. Like Gene Stealer purple? Or another purple? And if I... Hey, Fitted Raccoon, thank you so much for subscribing. If I am doing purple, what are you highlighting it with? Or what are you dry brushing it with? Or what do you do? I've got Gene Stealer purple. Purple and a pink. Emperor's Children pink. Mix some yellow into the purple. Wraithbone and then contrast on top. I might prefer to do that. Alright, well I'll put down a base colour and see how I like it, because I really don't know. I never paint Nids. So let me put down some sort of base colour and see what it looks like. Do you have any friends with Nids? I do, yeah, but I probably don't want to be messaging them at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night about a colour. Yeah, let's just base coat it something other than red though, because I always feel like if you base coat with something light, it's easier to work with beyond that. So that's what we'll start with. Does anyone know if there's lore on this lieutenant? I mean, if there was lore, it would probably be inside the Leviathan box, right? Because that's what he came with, right? What the hell is Dreadful Visage? Never heard of that paint. I've got some contrast I could look at putting over this. That might be the best thing for it. But yeah, maybe a couple of coats of some sort of like light base color to get rid of the red that bleeds through. It's a pinkish. Do you think GW ever released them standalone? I actually did not really realise that he wasn't released standalone. God, I hate it when they do that, man. They don't release them standalone. It's so dumb. You know, like, we just had this long conversation about like certain people using certain models to get an advantage, and then you've got other models that people can't even get. Like, if you didn't buy Leviathan, which, let's be real, Leviathan was expensive. It's like $150 or something. Not everybody can afford... And Leviathan was like a fear of missing out box as well, right? Like, if you didn't buy it when it first came out, you weren't getting it later unless you were going to eBay and... Oh, is this stuff on the base supposed to be the same crap, is it? Thanks, Mike. I hadn't even thought about the base. I forgot what he was standing on, honestly. I've had this guy on, like, I guess I've had him on a sprue for like 2 years. He is in the Leviathan Hero sprue. All right, so you get him in a like £100 box, same as like the Judasar and the other ones you can't get. Yeah, man, I hate that. It was so different when we were kids growing up with Warhammer. You could buy any part you wanted, and in the back of the codexes, you could just be like, "I need this one random head." Do you remember that? It was so much better. Yeah, I mean, this is such a light color, it'll need 2 coats to properly cover this red. It's just a marine with a knife. Yeah, I mean, you could literally make any lieutenant. If you don't have access to a combi weapon, you could take some sort of bolter and cut it in half and stick a meltagun on top of it. I'm sure I've made a combi weapon like that before. Where like I just was like, oh, I need a guy with a combi weapon. Let me just take a guy with a bolter and like cut off the top of the bolter or something, and just... Yeah, I remember doing that actually. I think I just stuck a meltagun, like it was one of the meltas from the Centurion kit or something. Like one of those like half meltas that you get. Just stuck one of them on top of it and was like, that's a combi weapon. So you can definitely jerry rig a combi weapon. That's something that you could do without too much trouble, I guess. Jerry rig everything. That's actually a pretty popular YouTube channel if you've never watched it. Jerry rig everything. He literally jerry rigs everything. The Blood Angels player just had a tough loss on the FLG stream. What was he up against? Hey, any tough loss is a learning experience though, man. It's not always easiest to see that at the time, right? Yeah, I mean, I would recommend kit bashing this guy before you spend whatever it costs to get the Heroes of the Imperium. I mean, I changed his head. I didn't like the head that he came with, and I think I stuck this Blood Angels bit on top of it as well, just to give him more Blood Angels flavor. I think that was off one of those new upgrade sprues, honestly. Just lost the sponson part while building and I cannot find it. Yeah, that's the sort of rule of thumb when a part pings off from one of your models and goes flying across the room and you hear it and you know you know roughly which part of the room it's in, but can you damn find it? No. In my old house, right? So this is like 3 years ago. I dropped a magnet one time, and like at the time in the old house, so my daughter's 5, so she would have been 2, and she was like crawling all the time, and I was like, oh my god, I've dropped one of these tiny little magnets. So I told my wife, I was like, fucking dropped one of these magnets, I can't find it, I've looked everywhere on the floor for it, I'm just gonna like pull up the rug that I've got in my room and I'm gonna hoover the entire room, because I can't risk leaving like one of these crazy powerful magnets on the floor for my daughter to find and eat or something. So like, you know, went out, got the hoover, moved a bunch of shit around behind the sofa, behind the seats, behind the computers, hoovered everywhere, right? Still looking for this magnet, looking, spent like ages. Felt like I'd done a pretty good job of hoovering it up, but I still hadn't found the magnet, and I was like, oh my god. Okay, hopefully it's been hoovered up, but I haven't found it. You know, like, so I go to the other room or something, and I think I was about to cook dinner or something. I like took my glasses off to rub my eyes, and as I was doing my glasses off to rub my eyes, I see the magnet attached to the damn metal glasses frame. So somehow, I think probably what had happened when I was magnetizing it, I'd take my glasses off and put them down on the table for a second. The magnet had sprung across the table, attached to the frame, and then I put them back on my head, and I just assumed that I'd lost the magnet. So part of me was relieved. I was like, oh my god, thank goodness I found that magnet. But the other part of me was like, I just wasted like 2 hours of my life looking all over for the floor for that magnet, and it was literally attached to my glasses right in front of my face. So yeah, there you go. I was glad to find it though, because I really was worried that, like, I was like, oh my god, you know what those little magnets are like for magnetizing the arms, they're so powerful. And it was just at the time when my daughter was crawling everywhere, and I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Wasn't funny at the time. But yeah, I cleaned the room. Win-win, right? I don't hoover all that often. Alright guys, I have to go in just a minute here. Sunday is always our Army List show though, so I will be back at 8 PM tomorrow night. And I guess like this week I'll probably be trying to get another game with Angelic Inheritors on Wednesday night to just keep trying and keep iterating and keep improving my potential Angelic Inheritors list, so we can actually see if we can find what I feel is a competitive Angelic Inheritors list, because I feel like I'm not there with what I've been playing yet. I don't know if I feel like we're miles off, but I just like to get feel like I got a bit more synergy or something with Inheritors. I've been known to look for my glasses while wearing them, says VT. Dude, I've done the exact same thing. I have those yellow tinted glasses because I have I get like loads of floaters and stuff in my vision, and the yellow tinted glasses really help me. They like hide the floaters or whatever it's called. And I've been walking around my house before and said to my wife, like, I'm losing my mind. Have you seen my yellow glasses anywhere? Because they're pretty yellow, right? Where are they? Like, they make shit pretty yellow. Like, look at the difference. Like, everything goes pretty yellow. I've been walking around my house before. I've said to my wife, I was like, I cannot find my yellow glasses anywhere. She's like, you're wearing them. I'm like, oh my god. Did you know that they did like a study with a set of glasses that, because you would think you would notice that you were wearing those, right? Because they are yellow, they're obnoxiously yellow tinted. But they did this study where they gave like a human a set of glasses that flip their vision upside down. And I believe that they wore the glasses for enough time where their brain just realized that all the images were upside down, and it flipped everything back up the right way. So I think the yellow glasses are like that as well. Like, I've been wearing yellow glasses now for like 10 or 11 years I've had yellow glasses. I need them more in the evenings than I do during the day. Like, I think it's something to do with like bright lights in the evening. But like, I've been wearing them for so long, I guess when I put them on, my brain can now distinguish the yellow and sort of remove it. Floaters are like, they are dirt inside your eyes, and yeah, there's no real way to cure them, Chase, my understanding. But I only see them in the evening, and I only see them when it's very bright. So that's why I've got the yellow glasses for the evening. In natural light, I'm fine. It's really only looking at like screens in the evening that I get it. I think it's probably something to do with tiredness or brightness. Something anyway. Alright, yeah, I think if I give that another coat of that light white or off-white, I could then do either a contrast paint or like a purple dry brush, maybe. Purple dry brush might be pretty cool. Might give it more depth than the contrast paint, honestly. Were my glasses filthy? Is that what you're telling me when I put them under the camera? A little bit. A little bit. Don't forget the tentacles on the base. Yeah, well, maybe do the tentacles like just more solid purple or something? Is a 10-man Terminator squad and a 10-man Sternguard squad good in aggressors? Sorry, inheritors. I mean, I feel like the Sternguard are probably at least more competitive. The Terminators are very expensive. And having played Terminators and Inheritors, I actually found them a little bit lackluster because of the lack of attacks. I think if you're going to run Terminators, put a chaplain on them. I think they're way better with 10 Terminators. Sorry, I think they're way better with the +1 to wound from the chaplain, the Terminators. Sternguard are amazing. Are they really amazing, Mike? What makes them amazing? Just the dev wounds? Frank's got yellow glasses for shooting. They're very fear and loathing. I like it. I like aviators, Frank. You guys, I need to run because I promised my wife that I would spend a little bit of time with her tonight. So I got to do that. But I'll be back tomorrow at 8. I hope you have a great evening. Thank you for watching. Leave a like. I hope it's been an entertaining stream. I'll see most of you guys tomorrow, 8 PM UK time. And I was going to say, if you guys have got some Sternguard lists for me to look at, then send them over. We can maybe get one of them on the Battle Report show. Alright, see you guys later. Good evening. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.